if you want to see me finish out the Mordenkainen's Fiendish Folio Volume 1 and cover monsters M through Z, stay tuned. Alright folks, we are back here on D&D Beyond. We are looking at the Mordenkainen's Fiendish Folio monsters M through Z. The reason that I'm doing this is there's only 3 monsters in the M through R category and 3 monsters in the S through Z category. So that being said, I should be able to get through all of these in one video. So first up, we have our mites. Now, I don't know about you, when I think of mites, I think of a little bug-type creature, some sort of, almost like a beetle with maybe some sort of mandibles. But a mite is a vexing fey creature, at least in D&D anyway, that delight in causing minor havoc and playing irritating pranks. Again, we see a lot of these kind of gremlin-y type characters. And look, it looks like this. This does not look like what I had pictured at all. As a challenge rating 1/4, small fey creature, 7 hit points, 12 AC, has vexing presence while within 30 feet. While within 30 feet of a mite that can see it, a non-fey creature has disadvantage on dexterity checks and dex saving throws. It can do a dagger attack, which seems kind of basic here, D4 plus 2 with a plus 4 to hit, but its main thing must be this blood-boiling hex, which it gets recharges on a 6. The mite places a hex on a creature it can see within 60 feet of it for 1 minute. If the mite is hidden, using the ability does not reveal its location. While the creature is affected by this hex, whenever it makes an attack roll, an ability check, or a saving throw, it must roll a D6 and subtract that number rolled from the D20 roll. On any turn in which it suffers the effects of the hex, the target can attack an ally as a reaction, ignoring the effect of the hex when it does so. It can then ignore the effect of the hex until the end of its next turn. So that's a really interesting, unique feature. It's basically like a bard's cutting words, a lore bard's cutting words feature, but in a hex. So let's see. It places it on a hex. So the hex just happens. It doesn't have a saving throw. On a creature can see within 60 feet for 1 whole minute, no save. If the mite is hidden, this doesn't reveal the ability. But while the creature is affected, again, let's go over it. It makes an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw. You subtract a d6. On which it subtracts a d6 from the d20 roll. So even if you make a natural 20 roll to hit, this subtracts a d6 from that, potentially turning your natural 20 into a regular hit or not a critical hit. So if you roll a 20 and then this effect happens, it's going to make it not a 20 anymore. But on any so that's how it happens. But on any turn in which it suffers the effect of the hex, you can target. So if you're affected by this, you can attack an ally. Only attack though, not make a check or any kind of saving throw. Attack an ally as a reaction, so you get to use that as a reaction to potentially not losing your turn, ignoring the effect of the hex when you do so on that turn. So you can still hit your ally for full damage, but it can ignore the effect of the hex until the end of its next turn. So the theory behind this is you're going to have this on you for a minute. If you attack an ally, that negates this on you until the end of your next turn. So theoretically, as a reaction, you could attack a friend, preferably one with adamantine armor in case you crit, or someone with high AC so you can hopefully miss. And then if that happens, then you can attack on your turn unaffected by this, which is a pretty crazy ability for a challenge rating 1/4 creature. I like that. Next up is the Needle Spawn. So this is a plant creature, sort of like another one of the Blights type creatures. It says, a wise ranger knows that the sight of a needle spawn is an ill omen, for it heralds the rise of a dreaded needle lord and a war for the soul of the forest. So you can see this is a plant creature. A needle spawn is only a challenge rating 1/2, 16 hit points, 13 AC. It can do close quarter shooting. The needle spawn does not suffer disadvantage on range attacks while within 5 feet of a hostile creature, and I can see is incapacitated if the target of the attack is also within 5 feet of the needle spawn. So no disadvantage on long range attacks if someone's within melee. Needle volley, the needle spawn makes up to 1d6 needle attacks, which is pretty crazy. You make 6 attacks as a challenge rating 1/2 creature, but it cannot attack the same target more than once, so it's got to spread it out. Its claws do a d6 plus 3 and do a plus 5 to hit, and the needle does a d4 plus 3 plus 5 to hit with a range of 60 feet. And here's the dreaded Needle Lord, a challenge rating 3 creature, 45 hit points, 15 AC. Needle defense. Each time a creature makes a melee attack against a Needle Lord, it takes 2 piercing damage. A creature can choose to make an attack with disadvantage. I like that. It can make an attack with disadvantage to avoid that damage. A multi-attack, the Needle Lord can make 2 Raking Vine attacks. It can also do Needle Volley, making up to 1d6 needle attacks. Raking Vine has a 10-foot reach, 2d6 plus 4 piercing damage. Target is grappled with an escape of DC 14. Until this grapple ends, the target takes 11 piercing damage at the start of each of its turns. The Needle Lord has 2 Raking Vines. It can grapple 2 creatures, taking damage each turn, and its needles only do a D4 piercing damage, which is weird that the Needle Spawn does more, but okay. And lastly, we have a Norcorg, which is a goblin with a large, crazy kind of carapace. Tough humanoids whose long, sharp fangs and thick, bony exoskeletons make them well-suited to the ranks of hobgoblin armies. We can see this here is a small creature, but here you can see its AC is 17, which is what makes it so dangerous. 16 hit points. Only challenge rating 1/2. It makes 1 mace and 1 bite attack. Its bite is a d6 plus 1. Its mace is a d6 plus 4. And as a reaction, though, defensive rebuke. If a creature within 5 feet of the Norcorg makes a melee attack against it, it can use its reaction to cause 4 piercing damage to it. We have a Norcorg War Leader, which is a challenge rating 3 with 39 hit points, still 17 AC. It can make 1 Great Axe and 1 bite attack, also use Fight On You Slugs. Its bite attack is plus 5 to hit, 1d6 plus 3 piercing damage. The Great Axe is plus 5 to hit, a d12 plus 3 damage. Fight On You Slugs is another ability it can use. It picks up to 3 allied goblinoids within 60 feet. The chosen creatures can each use their reactions to make a single melee attack. That's pretty nasty because it can do 1 attack with each weapon and do that, allowing everybody else to make an attack. And it doesn't have to just be Norkers. It could be goblins, it could be hobgoblins, whatever the case may be. And then its defensive rebuke, it has the same thing, but if someone hits it with a melee attack, makes a melee attack against it, you don't even have to hit, you just have to make the attack. It can use its reaction to cause 6 piercing damage to it. I'm excited to see Norkers in here, mostly because one of my first experiences with Adventure League play was the DM that I had there loved Norkers because he was an old school DM, even though he didn't really understand how Adventure Leagues worked. He loved to pit us against Norkers. His Norkers were about this, although I think they had an 18 AC, and his also had poison, which is something cool to add, but it's nice to see an official 5th edition Norcorg, just it has that little nostalgic memory for me. All right, now we're going to move on to monsters in the S through Z category. We have the Screaming Devilkin. The ferocious Screaming Devilkin are bizarre fey creatures spawned by overwhelming moments of panic. Despite their diabolic appearance and name, they're denizens of the Feywild. So this kind of looks like a little imp kind of creature. It's got the long imp. It's got a horn, bat wings, a long tail, but it is a fey. 18 AC, 17 hit armor class, which is pretty crazy. Attacks against the Devilkin have disadvantage while it's flying, so only opportunity attacks. So it's like a lesser version of Flyby called Agile Flyer. Ceaseless Screaming. Any creature other than a Screaming Devilkin that starts its turn within 30 feet or more of a Screaming Devilkin that can hear it must make a DC 10 Wisdom saving throw. On a failure, it's incapacitated. It's only a DC 10, so it's probably reasonable that you'll make it. But on a failure, it's incapacitated until the start of its next turn. Excuse me. Stunted legs, it has disadvantage on attack rolls, and all attack rolls made against it have advantage while it isn't flying because of its little baby legs. And its barbed tail is just a plus 5 to hit, a d4 plus 3 piercing damage. This isn't nothing too crazy, but it's challenge rating 1. So if you have a low level party, like a level 1 party or something like that, this could be pretty nasty, right? It can fly in and out. It has this low saving throw to knock people out, but it has a 17 AC and it can do decent damage. So as long as it can stay in the air and potentially move away, hit the party, and move back, it could be pretty nasty for a low-level party to deal with. Next, we have Yagorl, the Lord of Entropy. This enigmatic, wow, that was hard to say, being known as Yagorl, was one of the first Slotty created after Primus unleashed the Spawning Stone upon Limbo. That's cool. A powerful being suffused with entropic power, Yagorl delights in the act of unmaking and bringing chaos to any ecosystem it visits. Lesser Slotty follow close behind the Lord of Entropy, delighting in furthering the destruction it brings. Ah, man, we don't get a picture of that? That's the one you want to have a picture of, the Lord of Entropy. This is a challenge rating 23 creature, so this is an end game big tough boss kind of guy. Oh, here we go. After the 5th artist dispatched to record your girl's appearance failed to return, I let the matter rest. Well, that explains it. 325 hit points, 20 AC. It's got a 40-foot climb, swim, and movement speed. Strength, con, and charisma saving throws. Immunity to necrotic, poison, bludgeoning, piercing, slashing from non-magic attacks, and resistance to acid, cold, fire, thunder, lightning. Immunity to charmed, exhausted, frightened, poison, and true sight out to 120 feet. Speaks all languages and has telepathy out to 120 feet. So we're starting pretty powerful before we even get into abilities here. Each creature that is not a construct or undead that ends its turn within 15 feet. This is a large creature. Within 15 feet of it takes 46 necrotic damage. It has 3 legendary resistances it can use. It has advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. And it has innate spellcastings that have a DC 23 and plus 15 to hit on its spell attacks. At will, it can cast Blight, Blink, Chaos Bolt, Darkness, Detect Magic, Fly, and Shield. 3 times per day, Circle of Death, Enervation, Phantasmal Killer, and Symbol, using the Discord feature only. Twice per day, Finger of Death, Harm, Mental Prison, Power Word, Pain, and once per day, Power Word, Kill, Power Word, Stun, Symbol, Death Only, and Weird. Once per day, each of those, by the way. These are pretty crazy spells. And now we'll get into the actions. It can make 3 attacks, 2 with its Scythe, or 1 with its Entropic Touch. Its Scythe is a plus 14 to hit, reach of 10 feet, does 2d10 plus 7 slashing damage, plus 3d12 necrotic damage. Any creature reduced to 0 hit points by this attack dies, with its body and everything is wearing and carrying except magic items exploding into a cloud of ash. The creature can be stored to life only by means of a wish spell. So 2 of those, in 1 Entropic Touch, which is a 10-foot reach, plus 14 to hit, does 2d8 plus 7 necrotic damage, and they must succeed on a DC 22 con saving throw or gain a level of exhaustion. It can once per day summon 1d4 plus 1 Death Slotty, which, as a reminder, are challenge rating 10. Summon slot appears in an unoccupied space within 60 feet. And it can't acts as an ally and those can't summon other slotty. They remain for 1 minute or until it dies or it dismisses them. And he can teleport along with any equipment it's wearing or carrying up to 120 feet as an action. So as an action, it can cast any of its spells, make 2 Scythe attacks and an Entropic touch attack, summon 1d4 plus 1 Death Slots, or teleport 120 feet. And then we have the legendary actions, which are 3 legendary actions total. 1 to make a Scythe attack, 1 to use its teleport to 120 feet, and 3 to call to the void. Each creature that is not a construct or undead within 30 feet of it must make a DC 22 con save against the Lord of Entropy's attempt to unmake life, taking 42 or 12d6 necrotic damage on a failed save or half on a success. The Agorl then regains a number of hit points equal to half the total damage taken by all affected creatures. This dude is nasty. I'm a little bummed that there isn't. I like that they lore explained why there isn't any art, but I would like to see it because it sounds pretty sweet. And lastly, we have a Zil. Deep within the ethereal plane are the demi-planes, miniature worlds built by powerful archmages and other mighty entities to serve as a private domain. Let's see. Some are fortresses. Such other are far more sinister dark realms where evil dreams take root and become ghastly realities, such as the realm that spawned the Zil, horrific insectoid creatures that was created long ago to serve an ancient evil master. This is a medium monstrosity, which looks like some sort of weird upright walking centipede with a bunch of arms. Kind of reminds me, the head of it reminds me of an alien queen, like a xenomorph queen. But anyway, challenge rating 3, 33 hit points, 16 AC. Ethereal Jaunt, as a bonus action, it can magically shift from the material plane to the ethereal plane, or vice versa. And its Poison Stinger. The Zil injects poison into one creature it hits with its claw on its turn. The chosen creature must make a DC 11 con save, with disadvantage if the Zil hit it more than once, taking 46 poison damage on a failed save or half on a success. If the poison damage reduces the target to 0 hit points, the target is stable, but poisoned for 1 hour, even after regaining hit points, and is paralyzed while poisoned in this way. And it can make 4 claw attacks, which is pretty nasty. A d6 to hit, 1d4 plus 4 piercing damage. So the damage isn't too much, but it makes 4 attacks, and this poison could be pretty nasty. Again, it's only challenge rating 3, so getting into a fight with one of these things early on could pretty nasty. So that is it, guys. We've gone through every single monster in Mordenkainen's Fiendish Folio Volume 1. Let me know what you think. What was your favorite monster from this series? But also let me know in the comments what your favorite monster from all of them were. I think I am still kind of fond of the Kill Mooly, the Gonzo-looking monster. I'm just looking back through them. I thought the Assassin Bug was nasty with the breeding bugs under your skin and exploding out. But I gotta probably give it to the Lord of Entropy, because that's just badass. Although the only downside I have with the Lord of Entropy is you're probably not going to get a chance to fight one too often, as it's challenge rating 23. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't taken a chance to like this video and subscribe to the channel, now's a great time to do so. That way you can stay up to date when I continue to do other videos like this. I'm going to have a video coming out very soon talking about what the plans for Nerd Immersion in 2020 are, so stay tuned for that to see what we're going to be doing as far as streaming and videos and stuff like that. I also do stream on Twitch. It's a little funky right now with the end of the year. I'm going to try to get a stream out on Monday night, the 30th. I'm not going to assume anybody's going to watch anything on New Year's Eve. And then if I can, I'm hoping to get back into doing some character building on Wednesdays. I have my whole big long list of characters that people have asked me to make, but I'm also have a couple ones that I really want to make that have come out of, you know, shows lately. I want to build a Mandalorian from the TV show The Mandalorian. I really want to build a Oogway from Kung Fu Panda. I have a bunch that I want to work on. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.